afternoon, friend. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Amber May Show. So glad that you're joining me today because I have a really cute special guest, and that's right, it's my daughter Annabelle. She's going to be joining us today for a few minutes. She's going to stop by. I just want to support her because she is really supporting me in this podcast, and she's doing it too. And so I just want to give her some love on the show, make her feel important because she is important to me. So I hope you enjoy the segment that I have with her coming up in just a little bit. We have a lot to talk about. A lot hit the news cycle or current event cycle, if you want to call it that. We're going to play a video of what it was like when a whole bunch of pretty college girls decided to do recruitment videos. And I'm going to have my daughter talk about that a little bit. But I want to share a clip about the Federal Reserve, things that you may not know. Well, let me take that back. You guys are the smartest chat on Rumble, so I'm sure you guys already know. But there's a lot of people out there that really don't know. They think the Federal Reserve is federal and there is a reserve. They have no idea past that what it's about. So there's a little bit of video. Please share that with people. It's important that people find that out. And then we're going to talk about election interference. What's been going on that way with not only the census. Well, the census is a big one. The census election interference, the census is a big one. So we're going to hit on that too. And then we got some staggering numbers about the fact that there's a lack of seats and a lack of representation with the Republicans, even though they'll have X amount of votes. And so we're going to get into that a little bit, but then we're going to go into Bill Barr, man. What is behind Bill Barr? Project Veritas has a great episode out about how Bill Barr was trying to concoct this thing against Donald Trump to not. So they were trying to get him not elected. They were trying everything with lawfare to interfere with the elections, but it didn't happen, obviously, and they were scared of that. So we're going to get into that, some Letitia James news, just so much to talk about today. So please like, share, subscribe, please repost. Thank you for the Nun Report. They always write into this episode, and then we write into the Michael Schwartz. So I want to thank Dan Nunn for rating into our program. I really do appreciate him when he rates into our program. So go follow my friend, the Nun Report with Dan Nunn. And then make sure you go follow my friend Michael Schwartz on the Michael Schwartz Show, because we're going to rate into him. You're going to want to check out Live with Chris's World, Common Censored, God Signpost, Isaac Hayes, Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys, Patriots with Grit, Lady Hamilton Arts, Slacker 82 Alpha, go check him out. And over on Podbean, the Old Man's Podcast, Bella Forever, We Need to Talk with Nick B, Better Call Daddy, Crash and Burn, The Ralph Williams Show, Story and Strength, and Them Friends. My daughter has a podcast called Them Friends, so go check them out. Healing for the Ages has a brand new conference coming out October 23rd through the 25th in Dallas, Texas. Now, if you want to get to have a virtual VIP experience, please go to healingfortheages.com. Use promo code AMBER to save money at checkout. It's a pretty good discount for their virtual ticket. We want to make yourself healthy again. And Dr. Artist Group, Ely and Schmidt have come together for something greater than themselves by bringing something unique and powerful to the stage, a healing message not just for hope for humanity's future, but a definitive path that everyone is capable of walking in order to transform disease and darkness into bright and shining healthy light. So go to healingfortheages.com and make sure you use promo code AMBER at checkout. Some exciting news. I have just been invited to be a part of Faith and Freedom Network, and you can find me on faithandfreedom.tv. Faith, the letter N, freedom.tv. I'm super excited to be joining the lineup there of fellow content creators, and I'm very honored that they invited me to be on their platform. So that is some very exciting news. Well, hey, let's get started. I have a lot to share with you, and I have a great guest, so here we go.
On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land. Children stolen, lives betrayed, she won't back down, she's lighting the way, a beautiful warrior with faith so bright, holding the line in this endless fight. On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land.
Hey, friends. Like I said, I have a special guest today, and it's my daughter, Annabelle. Welcome to the program, Annabelle.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here.
I am so glad to have you. And one thing I want to say to my audience is that you, Annabelle, have been super supportive of my program, and I want to thank you so much. You're always encouraging. You think that I have the biggest show in the world. You tell your friends about me, and that means so much that my daughter thinks so highly of me. So thank you.
It's just so cool to have a mom who has a podcast with like almost 3,000 or 4,000 followers.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, and speaking of podcasts, you have a podcast too.
Yeah, it's only on Podbean, but we're hoping to get it on Rumble too. But it's called Them Friends, and every once in a while we'll do a fun little live show. All we do is just hang out and have fun. It's perfect for like kids and family.
So it's DEM, Dem Friends, or
No,
Them Friends?
Them Friends with a T.
Them Friends on Podbean.
On
so
Podbean.
They could search for you on Podbean at Them Friends. Cool.
Yes.
So what made you want to start your own podcast?
You made me want to start my own podcast after seeing you get so successful at your podcast and on Rumble and on Podbean and all these other apps, and you have so much fun with it and you have so many followers. I just thought it'd be fun for me and my best friend to start a podcast together.
Oh, that means the world to me. Thank you so much. And I'm very proud of you for doing it. I think that's wonderful. And we're making sure that you do it in a safe manner because you're still a child. And I know there's bad people out there. Dad and I have talked to you about how, there's some bad people out there that try to go after children. So we're trying to keep you safe. One thing I thought that was super cute of you is you started doing a morning routine. So we're going to go behind the scenes of Amber May in real life. Every morning, so cute. Annabelle has been making coffee, and then she sits outside and has her morning coffee. What you doing?
Morning coffee.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, I like to enjoy the morning air and drink my morning coffee.
Well, enjoy. I won't keep you any longer. That was Annabelle's morning coffee. So, Annabelle, tell me a little bit about why you started drinking your morning coffee.
So I wanted to start to get into a school routine. I wanted to start being a little more responsible. So I started to wake up slightly early. I would get ready. I would do a little workout, and then I would go and drink my morning coffee in the morning air and relax and just wake up.
What made you choose to go outside for your morning coffee?
Well, it's relaxing and no one's outside, and it's really peaceful outside. So I like to sit outside.
One thing I noticed is you are wearing a similar shirt to me. Tell me about your shirt. What are you wearing, Annabelle?
This is the Amber May Show shirt. You can get it at theambermayshow.com and use. Do you have promo code Amber May? No.
No, not for my shirts.
Well, they're awesome. I love them. Even the back, it says Amber May Show on it.
Ooh, what a great model. Thank you for modeling my shirt. So you recommend everyone, can I have the moderator? Well, she probably already put it in the link. But thank you, because it's hard for me to do an interview and read the chat. So thank you if you've already put that in the link. Yeah, you can find the merchandise at theambermayshow.com. Now, I don't know if you know of who Sydney Sweeney is and the American Eagle commercials. Are you familiar at all with that?
No.
Okay. So there was a young lady, and she is a pretty girl, and she did these commercials for a jean company. And now the media went crazy, calling it fascist, calling it all kinds of names, just because, well, she's a conservative like us. And I guess they were angry at the fact that it was a really pretty girl getting attention. So I have a video, and we could talk about it for a few minutes, about the sorority recruitment videos that are going around after liberal women lashed out at beautiful women. So here we go, really quick.
There's a place you can go, I said, young man. When you're short on your dough, you can stay there. And I'm sure you will find many ways to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything for your mental joy. You can hang out all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. You can get yourself clean. You can have a good meal. You can do whatever you feel.
So, Annabelle, did you see anything wrong with the way beautiful girls are? Like, is there anything wrong with that video per se? Is there anything wrong with being beautiful as a female?
No, I don't see anything wrong.
And you know what they did, Annabelle? I don't know if you know this because I don't think you went to any of the Donald Trump rallies with me, but Donald Trump comes out with a YMCA on every Trump rally. So that's why they picked that song, because they were standing in solitude with President Trump, conservatives, and there is nothing wrong with women being beautiful, right?
Yeah, there's nothing
That's
wrong
what
with
I
that.
thought. And that's why these girls came out with, that video. So you think those are pretty girls, right?
Yeah.
And they're just celebrating the beauty that God gave them.
Mhm.
And other people get very angry when some women are more prettier than them and they want to lash out, right?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that video? Was it catchy? Was it entertaining?
It was definitely entertaining and catchy.
Does it make you want to do a dance?
Yeah. It was cool how she did a backflip in one of them.
Remember when I was at the Rattlers game? What were you telling me at the Rattlers game when I was dancing?
Oh, she was doing the same dance as all the cheerleaders. And I was like, "You're my cheerleader, Mom." It was so funny.
I was doing the dance in the stadium. It was so fun. I was trying to be one of them. Well, Annabelle, this was so much fun for having you. Thank you for stopping by my show today. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, take care. And tell them once again where they can find your podcast.
You can find me on Podbean and soon to be Rumble at Them Friends, and I'm Butthead and my best friend's Beavis.
Well, thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. Have a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm going to get to that thought in just a second, but right now I'm going to take a quick break. Hey friends, if you're looking for a doctor you can trust, look no further than Dr. Stella, and you can find her at drstellamd.com. Let me show you one of the areas that I love about Dr. Stella. I enjoy supporting the immune system, especially when it comes to cold and flu season. And I love the Covey Light, the Covey Sleep, especially if you're having trouble sleep at night. Get that Covey Sleep. It'll help you so much. So not only are you supporting the immune system, but it also helps you get a good night's sleep. The Covey Spray is super easy. Covey Bites. These are my favorite, the Covey Bites. She has placed vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin. And we all know that that zinc helps support the body's immune system, but zinc needs delivery system. So that quercetin is the delivery system to drive that zinc in to help your body heal faster and feel better. Also has Covey vitamins for kids as well. Hey, and if you're looking to get ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, or you just feel under the weather and need a doctor you can trust, set up a telemed appointment with her. And the best part is when you use my name, Amber or Amber May, at checkout, whether you need your Covey Bites or a telemed appointment, you will save money at checkout. So don't forget to use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money. So go visit drstellamd.com and then use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money.
I'm Jason Jones with Newsmax, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
Ever thought about having your own podcast? Let me show you how easy it can be. Worried about tech and the mic? I break it down in the course. Thinking that you need some expensive studio? I show you the kind of studio and how easy it is and cost effective it is to start your own podcast today. Starting your own podcast can be overwhelming, and I show you the right steps to launch your show successfully. So join me at Podcast Like a Pro. I'm Amber May with over 20 years of experience in the broadcasting and podcasting world, and I could show you how to podcast like a pro because I am a pro. So become a pro just like me by going to theambermayshow.com. Look for the tab Podcast Like a Pro, and what's even better, prices have been slashed. Save over $100 when you use promo code AMBER at checkout. I slashed the price and I'm adding a promo code into it. So join now. Now is the best time to be a podcasting pro just like me. So go to theambermayshow.com, hit podcast like a pro with the newer, lower prices. And don't forget promo code AMBER at checkout. You are listening to the Amber May Show, and now we return to the show already in progress. And that was my daughter, Annabelle. I was so excited to have her on today. I definitely have to get a new camera. That's a for sure thing. But I just dropped a lot of money on this new equipment that I got for sound. So yeah, that's going to be the next thing as a new camera. It's just super zoomed in and there is nothing I can do to unzoom it out. But I have so much to talk about on today's episode. I don't know if I'm going to get to it all. A lot has happened. You guys know, and Dr. Michael Schwartz talks about it a lot, and you can find this things that he talks about, like the Federal Reserve and his book, The Only Way to Save America, Trump 2.0, The Battle for Common Sense. And you can find this and pick this book up, and I highly recommend it because he does talk about the Federal Reserve. And a lot of us are against we need to come to an end. That there's no need to keep going on with the Federal Reserve. I have this video that talks about things that everybody needs to know. It's in concise form in 2 minutes. But also, G. Edward Griffin wrote a book about the creature from Jekyll Island, and it talked about the creation of the Federal Reserve. So let's watch this video because I don't think people really know much about the Federal Reserve. It sounds like it's from the government. It's federal, so it must be, right? No, it's not. And the fact that we're borrowing our own money and paying our self-interest does not make sense at all. So here is a concise information of what you need to know about the Federal Reserve. Here we go.
November 1910. 7 bankers meeting in secret to create America's central bank. We just can't call it that.
The 1907 panic nearly destroyed us. Banks failed, fortunes vanished.
We want to control America's money supply, create booms, trigger busts, and profit from both. And how will we do that?
We'll create money from nothing, loan it to the government, and charge interest. Legal counterfeiting, my friends.
But there's a cost. Every dollar we print steals value from existing dollars. It's a hidden tax that flows directly to us. And it gets worse. If we ever get off the gold standard, governments can print money for wars. Endless wars become possible and profitable.
Since Americans hate central banks, we'll call it the Federal Reserve. Sounds governmental, doesn't it?
It's not. The president will appoint board members, but we'll pick who he appoints. We'll have 12 regional banks. Looks decentralized, democratic even. But New York banks control them all. That's us.
You're probably wondering how we're going to get this through Congress.
December 23rd, 1913. Most of Congress home for Christmas. Perfect timing for passing unpopular legislation. I'll publicly oppose our own bill in Congress. They'll pass it thinking they beat Wall Street. We'll fund university chairs, write the textbooks. They'll teach our system as economic science. Beautiful. Every American born after this will inherit debt on money we created from nothing. Generational servitude. The Federal Reserve. Not federal, no reserves. But everyone will think it's their government protecting them.
Good afternoon.
Yep, I agree. Well, I don't know about that part, but that's up to everyone. But everything they said is correct about the Federal Reserve. And if you remember, I had Anton Chapkin on the program, and he talked about the endless wars, and he talks about how those in charge up in the upper echelon, they pick the winners and losers. They pick the countries that are going to be wealthy. The countries that are perpetually going to be poor. And then they strategize for us. I mean, you saw in that clip right there, they're talking about us losing the value of the dollar. So our purchasing power becomes less and less. That means our quality of life becomes less and less. That means we can purchase less so that everything starts being more expensive to the point that we can't even afford our own regular lifestyle anymore. The Federal Reserve is a scam that has been a scam for the elites. They have profited off of us. So it's time. If there's going to be a time to end the Federal Reserve, it's right now under the guise of President Donald Trump. But let's continue putting public pressure on our members of Congress because we have the House and the Senate. We gave a mandate to Washington, and many, not all, but there was several. There's a good chunk of them in D.C. that got the mandate when we elected them into office. So if things are going to change, it's to change now. Now, to switch topics to election integrity, because that's something I talked about a little bit yesterday if you followed my show. So Tuesday and Thursday, great grammar. I'm on 2 p.m. Eastern. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm still here at 6 p.m. We had the Dan Nunn show. They raid into our program, and then we raid into the Michael Short show. And I want to thank Dan Nunn for raiding into our program. I really appreciate that. And then we raid into the Michael Short show. And what's really cool on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we get a raid into the Nunn report. So me and Dan get to help each other out. It's pretty cool. So we were talking about what's happening in Texas. They're calling it gerrymandering, but no, this has been going on for a lot. Rules for radicals: accuse your opponent of what you were doing. So they have been manipulating the election system, especially in 2020 with the mail-in ballots, but also with the census. They were a lot of blue states and maybe even some of the red states that are trying to, the powers that be trying to convert, like my state, they're trying to convert my state to blue. They did that very successfully in Colorado, and Tina Peters is sitting behind prison bars because she was exposing the election fraud in her county as a county clerk and recorder. And we need to put public pressure to set her free because it's a state charge, not a federal. So Donald Trump cannot pardon her because it's not a federal crime. There was no crime. She committed no crime. She was exposing election fraud in Colorado as an elected official that she found while she was doing an audit in her system. So the CNN, sometimes it shocks me that you get some truth on CNN. CNN admits the 2020 census undercounted the population in red states, overcounted the population in blue states. This is a mistake that cost the GOP a lot of seats. So rules for radical: accuse your opponent of what you were doing. Let's check out this clip.
One of the big things is it helps decide congressional maps.
Right.
Does this have everything to do with redistricting?
Well, it does. In fact, we know the 2020 census, the errors were almost always to the detriment of red states. Blue states like Rhode Island.
Do we know that?
We do know that. The Census Bureau's own audit of its work has proven that. Blue states like Rhode Island were overcounted. Rhode Island then didn't lose a seat. Red states like Alabama were undercounted. Listen, this is just a fact. It wasn't all red-blue, but it was disproportionately red-blue.
Do you want to?
And you know what, like I said, when they were redistricting, it was going to be very bad here in Arizona. I'm glad that a lot of people spoke up. Now, Steve Bannon had a gentleman on his show, and MSNBC says maps should mirror vote percentages. And so they're going to talk about the vote percentages on this little clip. And it's very important because elections are a matter of national security. I don't think that any of us really gave it that much thought before, but it really is, because whoever sits in the seats makes the decisions. And Joe Biden, even though it wasn't Joe Biden, we had that open border, and to the detriment, and we're going to get into a little bit of it with the fentanyl that came in. I mean, they just found a whole bunch of fentanyl that came somehow through the border, I assume through China, through the cartel. And if I have time to play that clip, I'm going to. So they have all the drugs coming in to kill all of our young people, to kill us in general, to drug us up so that our minds are too fried to fight against City Hall with all their globalist ideas. China wants us to be dumb. China wants us to be on drugs because it will make it easier for China to become the superpower and take over the United States. Like I said, with Jason Jones, we are surrounded literally by China. They're to the north of us, they're to the south of us. They're in the Caribbean islands. They're in South America. We're literally surrounded by them. And then remember on yesterday's show, we talked about the Intel chips. The CEO of Intel, Chinese. These are things that are scary. Do we want them spying on our computer software without us not even knowing? Put malware in there without us even knowing? Have them be able to control our computer systems, especially the ones of national security, without us even knowing? I mean, this is really a threat. And they're not coming at us with guns. They're coming at us in multiple ways.
It's great to be with you, but I'm kind of upset at you. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to get back the brain cells you made me lose by listening to that MSNBC panel right before I came on here, okay? And like, I got to say something about that, okay? I pulled some numbers here because they're talking about this extreme gerrymandering. They're so mad in Texas. And one of these morons on MSNBC actually said, well, the congressional map should be mirror sort of the voting percentages in the state. So I pulled the numbers while he was talking here. Read this real quick. California, Republicans make up 40% of the vote. They get 17% of the seats because they never talk about it when the Democrats do this. Never a word. It's only Republicans. Okay, Massachusetts, Republicans make up 35% of the vote. They get 0 congressional representation. Connecticut, Republicans are 38%. They get 0 seats. New York, 42% of the vote is Republican. They get 26 seats, percentage of the seats. Maryland, Republicans are 38% of the vote. Republicans get 12% of the seats. New Mexico, 44% of the vote's Republican. 0 congressional seats. I could go on for pages here. Okay, so like America needs to know.
Hang on. I just brought it. Yeah, I just brought up with DeGrasse, all of New England.
Yeah.
All the states. I think the average is 40%, 38 to 40% of Republicans. There's not one Republican in the entire congressional delegation of the entire New England. Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut.
I'm glad we're finally talking about this topic. Remember in 2020, there's no evidence. Yeah, because you won't let us bring any evidence. You won't let us talk about it. You won't, because they had the gatekeepers, right? And, oh, there's no evidence of that. There's no evidence. Yes, there is. You just won't let us talk about it. Completely a lie. There's so much evidence about election fraud. Tons.
Hey, I'm going to get to that thought in just a second, but right now I'm going to take a quick break.
Okay, so when you are a guest at the Amber May's house, you get luxury. And how you get luxury is I have this sleeping couch, the sleeper sofa, and you're telling me that's not luxury. It is when you put a MyPillow mattress topper on it. All my guests that have come over and stayed at my house have really enjoyed this sleeper sofa, which says a lot because they're getting to sleep on the MyPillow pillows, and you get the MyPillow mattress topper, and then it doesn't stop there with the luxury, because when you shower at the Amber May Show's house, you get to have a MyPillow towel. I don't have the kids using it. I just let the adults have the luxury. So the adults get to use the MyPillows, and they're phenomenal. And right now, there's a massive sale going on with the MyPillow towels. So you should really put luxury into your home and live it every day like Amber May does every day. So I have a MyPillow mattress topper on my bed. I use the MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow towels, the MyPillow slippers. I live luxury, and I don't have to pay the luxury price because MyPillow has promo code. So use my name, Amber, and save up to 66% off, and you can live luxurious as well.
I'm author and filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
Let me tell you a quick story that's important to you and your family's health. In 1963, the FDA banned a promising new discovery in the fight against cancer. Laetrile, also known as B17, was so popular among its consumers that some 70,000 plus Americans crossed into Mexico to smuggle it back into the United States, according to Newsweek. Laetrile was under constant attack by big pharma, big media, big government. Sounds familiar? Kind of like ivermectin. And just like ivermectin, Laetrile was both a solution and a problem. You see, Laetrile is naturally found in 1,200 plus foods, including apricot seeds. So Big Pharma can't make money off of it, and that's a big problem. In the 70s, Sloan Kettering, an American cancer research institute, found Laetrile was successful at preventing cancer and stopping it from growing. That's according to numerous sources at Sloan Kettering and researchers for the movie Second Opinion. So what does this mean to you? Well, I'm going to give you a source for Laetrile. So to find out more, go to the rncstore.com, and when you're there, use promo code AmberMay at checkout.
You are listening to The Amber May Show, and now we return to the show already in progress.
And I don't want to change the subject, but I am going to, because this is very important. I have my friend Tracy Slepsevek. She's been on, and she has a book out called Warrior Mom. And you can find some of her info on my resource tab under the Amber May Show. Look up childhood vaccines. And then she has an autism organization. Did I get a text message or an email from her today? She has a Substack called Warrior Mom, and she has a nonprofit out there too. Autism Health. Yes, Autism Health. AutismHealth.com. She has a wealth of information on autism, autismhealth.com. And what this little clip is going to show, just working on gut health will dramatically help your child who's dealing with autism. I know for a fact she did it with her son, and her son was originally, if memory serves it correct, nonverbal. So this is important information that you need to know. If you do nothing else about autism, and I hope that you'll go to autismhealth.com, go get her book, Warrior Mom. I think you can get it on Amazon. She has a wealth of information, and she brings on the experts and does seminars, and she knows so much about this topic. And she's done a lot of healing with her son. So go check her out. But let's play this clip because it's going to talk about two severely autistic nonverbal twins, identical in their struggles, identical in their microbiome, overrun by harmful microbiomes, then a transformation in their gut flora is corrected, and the bad microbes suppressed, good microbes flourishing, and check out what she says about it. Very important. So I'm trying to get a lot of information out here today because I have so much to share. Here we go.
Or the miracle in a way. When you see the cases of the two twins that are severely injured with autism, severely autistic, nonverbal, and their microbiome is this way, identically, the two of them have the same groups of microbes. And then you correct their microbiome and you flip that formula to becoming good microbes high, bad microbes down. And those kids are speaking and fully verbal, fully reading. That's the gold. Because now you know, well, I have clinical significance, but I also have a microbiome assay that tells me that my kid has improved.
And her kid has improved dramatically too. So please go to autismhealth.com to learn more. If you know someone who struggles with autism, please go do that. Nothing makes me more happier than to see the Justice Department open criminal investigation into Letitia James, the New York Attorney General. Boy. Tides have turned and justice is coming. At least I hope so. I'd love to see her behind bars after what she did to Donald Trump. New York, and this is coming from Breitbart, New York Attorney General Letitia James is now under criminal investigation over her targeting of both President Donald Trump and another instance at the direction of Attorney General Pam Bondi. Two sources briefed on the matter told Breitbart News that subpoenas have been sent to James focusing on what they say are allegations she engaged in what is called a deprivation of rights when she targeted Trump in another instance. Subpoenas have been issued. These sources say that there is an active and open grand jury investigation and was ordered by Bondi and is being run by the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York. While the sources did not specify which U.S. attorney in New York is handling the James investigation, there are multiple U.S. attorney offices in New York. Since her office is in Albany, and that there is that is from where she took these actions for which she is now under investigation, it would appear that probably means the Northern District in New York is the one handling this. While these sources briefed on the matter did not say more than this investigation was focused on a deprivation of rights question, the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division website clearly specifies includes statutes focused on this front. Section 242 of Title 18 makes it a crime for a person acting under the color of any law to willingly deprive a person of a right or privilege protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. The DOJ website notes, as well as depending on the severity of such offense, if someone is convicted of this federal crime, they could face life in prison or even death penalty. For the purpose of Section 242, acts under color of law includes acts only done of federal, state, or local officials with their lawful authority, but acts done beyond the bounds of the official's lawful authority, if the acts are done while the official is perpetrating or pretending to act in the performance of his or her official duties, the DOJ's website states, persons acting under color of law within the meaning of the statute include police officers, prison guards, other law enforcement officials, as well as judges, care providers in public health facilities, and others who are acting as public officials. It is not necessary that the crime be motivated by animus towards the race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familiar status, or national origin of the victim. Now, I just want to point out really quick. People often think the police are like the top law enforcement officers. No. The top law enforcement officers of the state are the attorney generals. In the county, it's the county attorney. What happens in law enforcement is the police will refer a criminal investigation, but it's up to the county attorney or the attorney general whether they're going to prosecute. They're the ones that prosecute. The law enforcement officer collects evidence and refers over to them to see if they want to prosecute a crime. So just to be clear, I just want to point out that Letitia James is supposed to be like the chief law enforcement officer right now, right? And she's committing crimes. Again, it is unclear that if the specific statute under which James faces criminal investigation, but the sources briefed on the matter did say that the investigation is focused on deprivation of rights. The case with regards to Trump, with regard to another instance as well, since subpoenas have been issued. Normally, federal subpoenas would cite a specific statute, but again, those documents are not as yet publicly available. And this news comes after it was revealed in May of 2025 that James is under federal investigation for potentially alleged mortgage fraud. She now faces multiple criminal investigations from federal law enforcement. James regularly campaigned for the office she holds now ongoing after Trump. And this line of investigation is likely to prove to be fruitful because of the fact she was so open about plotting to come after him before she won her election as New York Attorney General. I sure hope. I don't know. I from what this article is saying, and maybe you guys in the chat, you guys are so smart. If you guys have been up on top of the Letitia James, because I don't know if it's still ongoing or if they're just waiting for a court date. But I sure hope that they're still investigating or going to prosecute her for mortgage fraud. And she's not the only one. Remember, Pencil Neck? He was also investigating for mortgage fraud, claiming his primary residence is in California and then claiming his primary residence was somewhere else. But here's what I found fascinating. I'm really glad about this because, when we talked to Jason Jones, we talked about the drug cartel being identified as a terrorist organization, right? So it gives more ability for law enforcement to go after them. And I'm so happy about this because Breitbart is reporting that Trump signed orders to use military force against certain drug cartels. A report in New York Times states that President Donald Trump secretly signed an order authorizing the use of military force against certain Latin American drug cartels. These cartels were previously designated by President Trump and the U.S. Department of State as foreign terrorists. The Times says that the action signals President Trump continue willingness to use military forces to carry out what has primarily been considered a law enforcement responsibility to curb the flow of fentanyl and other illegal drugs. Now, remember, Jason Jones qualified this. He told us before this was the designation, it could only come from the Justice Department. And that's why it was so difficult for the hands were tied of law enforcement because they can only go after it in a certain scope. But when they designate it as a foreign terrorist organization, it was no longer just under the purview of the Justice Department. So it gave more scope into being able to go after them. So go back and listen to that episode with Jason Jones. It was very insightful. So let's see. The newspaper cites people familiar with the matter says the order provides an official basis for direct military operation or sea on foreign soil against the cartel. U.S. military officials have started drawing up options for how the military could go after the group. The people familiar with the conversation said, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss the sensitivity internal deliberations, but directing the military to crack down on the illicit trade also raises legal issues, including whether it could count as murder if U.S. forces acting outside the congressional authority armed conflict were to kill civilians, even criminal suspects who pose no immediate threat. So it is unclear what the White House and Pentagon and State Department lawyers have said about the new directive, or whether the Justice Department's office or legal counsel have produced an authoritative opinion assessing the legal issues. But the U.S. government has already had various drones overflying cartel operations and expanded its intelligence operation in Mexico. And let me tell you, to be clear, the cartel is also flying drones into the United States. Just so you know. However, the order could open the door for drone strikes or special operation groups to operate and capture cartel figures in Mexico and other countries like Venezuela. The order comes soon after the U.S. Government designated Venezuela's Cartel de los Soles as a terrorist group, as Breitbart, Texas has reported. The criminal organization is allegedly led by Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro, a key figure within the country's military and government. In the case of Mexico, earlier this year, the U.S. government designated 6 drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And since then, the Trump administration has threatened Mexico with tariffs in an attempt to force the government to crack down on drug cartels. However, as Breitbart, Texas has reported, one of the key obstacles in the Mexico's political elite is tied to those criminal organizations and is protecting them all along. The elite's always right. But this is why this is so important, because Kristi Noem shows off how much fentanyl that they were able to confiscate right here in the U.S. This is why this is so important, a national matter of national security. Here we go.
I want you to look at the contraband that's in front of me. We have 20 kilograms of fentanyl that's in front of me on this table. That's enough to kill 10 million people. And here out of this office, this was interdicted just days ago here in Illinois. And because these federal officers have been out on the streets picking up criminals and dangerous individuals, we were able to take this 20 kilograms. I want you to look
That's a lot of drugs. A lot. Bravo for catching all that. And this is why border security is super important. Super important. So, to change subjects again, the theme is Trump is winning today. But okay, Project Veritas just came out with this new episode. And what they're saying is Bill Barr held secret meetings to plot prosecutions of Trump and block his political comeback. Bill Barr was like, we should bring RICO because it's a very difficult type of charge to defend. And there's a whistleblower that they were interviewing on a Project Veritas episode. Now, it's a very long clip. You guys know I love long clips. We're not going to play it all. I'm going to play some of it. You can find it on X under Project Veritas. Go listen to the thing in its entirety. And don't tell my friend Michael Schwartz that I cut the clip down. Just kidding. I'm just joking. Okay, here we go.
It's very easy to know why I am being prosecuted and no one else it's being charged or prosecuted. It's very easy. I called the FBI to report Bill Barr and Armstrong Williams. I have notes of every single meeting. One meeting can be about visa for someone, or another meeting can be about January 6th or RICO case. I have a quote here that was like, Barr believes the FBI will go to Trump House soon. And one thing that I heard a lot is like how they go to prevent America to have Trump again. One thing that I learned very fast and very in the beginning is like Bill Barr is someone extremely important. And I remember the biggest conversation they had at that point, it is like, what kind of charge that we can bring against Trump? And that's when Bill Barr, and I will never forget that, Bill Barr was like, we should bring RICO because it's a very difficult type of charge to defend. Armstrong has this powerful friends. He's friends with like Bill Barr, he's friends with Ben Carson, he's friend with the mayor of DC, and he has like all this list of powerful people and people like with a lot of money. I know they do some business together. all the time Armstrong needs something, he calls Bill Barr. Like, can be, for example, approve a visa for someone, he calls Bill Barr. Or, for example, do some kind of lobbying with, for example, Turkish Airlines, he calls Bill Barr. Bill Barr is like the person that we call to resolve any kind of problems or situations. I have notes of every single meeting. One meeting can be about visa for someone, or another meeting can be about January 6th or RICO case. In February 27 of 2023, here's my notes, they launched this meeting about RICO case. I do not know if they have meetings before about that. That was the first time that I heard and that I learned about that. So they bring that case against Trump. And I remember the biggest conversation they had at that point, it is like, what kind of charge that we can bring against Trump? And they discussed like few charges under American law. And that's when Bill Barr, and I will never forget that, Bill Barr was like, we should bring RICO because it's a very difficult type of charge to defend. Bill Barr was like very focused and bring the RICO case because he explained to Fannie Willis, the RICO charge is one of the most hard to defend in court because under the American law, the RICO charge can be anything. Like, it's not very specific. So people who is charged with RICO case, they have a very hard time to defend themselves. We had this meeting with Fannie Willis. At that point, I didn't have idea about her, what she worked with. I just don't know her. And she presented herself as like someone who's close to Armstrong, someone who's attorney. And all the time I was like, okay, it's just like one more meeting that we had. And then in these meetings, that's when I started to take notes and like try to keep everything that to prove that what's going on. One thing that I understood very well is like Bill Barr and Armstrong and all the politicians too, they're very focused like in how they go to stop Trump. And one thing that I heard a lot is like how they go to prevent America to have Trump again. So in my views of politics, what I think it is, they probably realized very soon that if Trump runs again, he probably will win the election as he did. So in that point, they just want to like prevent that. One of these meetings, for example, was launched in March 15 of 2022. And this meeting was at Sinclair Broadcast. And in this meeting was when I like started to learn more about Fannie Willis and about some guy called Jack Smith and about investigation involving January 6th. I have a quote here that was like, Barr believes the FBI will raise, and I put it in parentheses, go to Trump House soon. That's when was like, I start to learn and to be sure about what they're doing. Was like they're planning and they create crimes and situations to go after everyone.
Pretty intense. So no wonder why, we're talking about election interference right now, because if you just listen to that Project Veritas alone, they were planning election interference from the beginning, going after Trump for nothing. And so this is a matter of national security. So I hope that these charges will stick. I hope the grand jury will indict all of these people that were trying to go after Donald Trump illegally. I hope we see all of them behind bars and handcuffs. I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited about it because I'm so tired of being jerked around. Oh, we got him. We got him. We got him. I know you've heard it too. All these years. Oh, we got him. And then we don't got him. We don't got him. So I don't want to hear about it anymore until we got him. But it's news. I guess we talk about it. I'm just still reserved and thinking, well, I don't know. We know that there was crimes committed, but we do know people are above the law. And I hope this time the tables are turned and people are not again above the law anymore. I hope. We need to send a message out that if you're going to be screwing around, you're going to go to prison. We need to go after the money. Get rid of the Federal Reserve is one way. Cut the head off the snake. Go after the highest level you can find. Remember, on yesterday's program, we talked about a family of a bunch of billionaires that no one ever talks about. Because we know I think you know, that there's so many people that are behind the scenes calling the shots, and we don't even know their name. And they're billionaires. They control a lot of stuff, such as war. Are we going to ever end the war with Ukraine? Well, but what do the Ukrainians think? Ukrainians no longer support war to bitter end, want negotiations as soon as possible, poll says, and this is Breitbart. The view of the Ukrainian citizen on what kind of end to the Russian invasion they want has totally inverted since the war began. Polling finds with a clear majority now supporting a negotiated end as soon as possible. 69% of Ukrainians say their country should seek to negotiate an ending to the war as soon as possible. Polling by Gallup has found a figure that has absolutely soared since 2022 when the first war began. And back in 22, 73% of Ukrainians said they believe the answer was the nation continuing to fight until it wins the war. Well, just 22% supported negotiations. Well, today, just 24% support fighting to the bitter end. Gallup acknowledges that they're unable to pull areas of the country under Russian occupation, equivalent to around 10% of Ukraine's population, but nevertheless said their research showed support for the war was falling across all regions and all demographics. Despite the soaring support for fast-paced, Ukrainians showed themselves in the Gallup interview to be very skeptical about the end being near. Just 5% say they believe it is very likely there will be a lasting end to fighting within 12 months. In all, 25% said it was very or slightly likely, while a clear majority at 68% said they found it slightly or even unlikely fight would end. Believe that Ukraine is on course to join NATO alliance is also plummeting, Gallup found. And for the first time, more people think Ukraine will never join NATO than membership happening within 10 years. A further 25% said it could happen, but not until 10 or even more than 20 years away. Back in 22, the number of Ukrainians who thought NATO membership was on the near horizon was double what is polled to be now. The country showed itself more optimistic about the European Union. However, a clear majority thinks it is coming, which is 18% reporting they believe Ukraine will never join the globalist bloc. The last Gallup figures comes as negotiations between the United States and Russian Federation shows potential to enter a more productive phase with talks of direct talk between U.S. President and Donald Trump and Russia Vladimir Putin within a week. Yet even more potentially productive format with trilateral meetings, also including Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky, appears to have been rejected by Moscow, potentially leg-swinging progress and confirming Trump's stated suspicion that there is little utility left in talk. So we'll see. Is it going to end? I hope so. I hope so. So what happens when a federal judge issues for a block of Trump's birthright citizenship in order since the Supreme Court ruling? So, in other words, my question is, because this is the headline from CBS News. Federal judge issues fourth block of Trump's birthright citizenship order since Supreme Court ruling. How do you rectify this? Like, I don't know, because I'm not a legal expert. Yeah, the Supreme Court who ruled that we're ending birthright citizenship. We talked about this on yesterday's show. Remember, follow me Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. We talked about this. I shared a story about a mansion in California that had over 20 kids, and they were like selling these children. It was disgusting. And they were trying to give birthright citizenship to these children too. I'm trying to remember the story exactly. But we know that anyone, like a lot of the people that come here illegally give birth, and then all these years they've been able to get their kids citizenship to the United States, and then by proxy they're going to get citizenship too. But that's not what the Constitution said, because the Constitution was giving birthright citizenship to children of slaves. That's what that was all about. It wasn't that if you have no ties to the United States without a citizenship, that your kids automatically get birthright citizenship. It had nothing to do with that. And yet our past governments have been allowing that and allowing that and allowing that and allowing that. And finally, President Trump's like, that's not how it's written in the Constitution. And the Supreme Court upheld it. Now you have this federal judge who wants to block it. So I don't know what the recourse is on that. But a federal judge in Maryland, go figure, ruled late Thursday that President Trump's administration cannot withhold citizenship from children born to people in the country illegally. You have no ties to this country. The only reason why I could get citizenship in a foreign country is because my dad was born there. He's a citizen of another nation. Well, he was before he died. So I could go get citizenship because my dad is a citizen of that nation. My niece's father is a citizen of another nation too. And they have dual citizenship. One in Europe, one here. Had my nieces not had a father born in Europe, they could not get citizenship in Europe just because they were born. Let's say pretend my sister was traveling and she gave birth in Europe. Wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have got citizenship in Europe. They would have been American citizens, not English citizens, not French citizens, not Italian citizens, not name the country citizen. But for whatever reason, our country's been so lackadaisical about it. And so the whole world is wanting to come here and give birth so their children have citizenship. It's a problem in the immigration system. So if you set this law that says you cannot have citizenship by being born here, don't you think that's going to reduce the amount of illegals coming across the border? Because their whole goal is to make sure their kids have citizenship here when they do not have citizenship here. So they're breaking the law by coming here, and most likely the taxpayer dollars are paying for the birth of that child. Most likely. Well, I think that concludes today's episode of The Amber May Show. Please like, share, subscribe, repost the show. Thank you for joining us today. Go grab a shirt at theambermayshow.com. Go grab a shirt, support the program that way. And I cannot wait to see you next time on The Amber May Show. Take care. Thank you for joining us today on The Amber May Show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if there's someone that came to mind, please share this episode with them. Please follow us on Telegram at The Amber May Show, True Social, Amber May, Frank Socially, Amber May, or Clout Hub. I can't wait to see you next time on The Amber May Show.